the legend, Chad Reed. What's up, Reedy? How are you, man?
What's up, boys? How you doing?
We're good. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for the time tonight. Appreciate it. So, yeah, you got yourself a job. You're busy now.
Loosely.
Loosely?
Loosely.
What made you want to do it? Obviously, Adam and everybody at World Supercross, you raced it last year until you crashed. You're a fan of the series. I get it. But what made you want to commit more time and energy and travel and all of that?
I'm a fan of Supercross, and I always have been. I mean, it's just, like growing up in Australia, racing Supercross at 12 years old, chasing the dream, racing in the U.S. and everything like that. It's just, Supercross has just always been, it's in my opinion, it's the elite of our sport. Two-wheeled off-road racing at the highest level is Supercross. And for whatever reason, I fell in love with it when I was about 9 years old, and I've just loved it. So, yeah, just wanting to be a part of it, wanting to, the goal, the vision. As a rider, I always kind of loved and shared that vision of wanting to go bigger and better and, go global. And, we initially started to scratch the surface with that in 2002, going to, where did we go, Switzerland and then to Holland. And it just, didn't really work out for whatever reason. And then here we are, we got a new group that's kind of sharing and chasing that same dream as well. So, love to be a part of it. And, yeah, just, I don't know. I've been involved on so many different things, athletic side of it, a team owner side of it, and then obviously into the, what was that, 11, 2009, 10, 11. I was a, co-promoter of Australian Supercross, so definitely seen a different side of the world, from the promoting side of it. So, yeah, just, I don't know, just that perspective and understanding all the different outlets and seeing how that experience that I can help them, better ammunition going forward, I guess.
You're going to help out in the TV booth, and it says you're an advisor as well. So does advisor kind of mean like, hey, Chad, you got any ideas about anything, scoring, is there sort of a parameters for this, or is it basically like, hey, Chad, tell us what you think or what you see or what we can do better?
Yeah, I think consultant would be a better word. Basically, technically my contract that I signed had a consultant on it. But I mean, that obviously it involves advising, looking over the scheduling, the race, the races and how they do them, diving into different and new things. I think that when the FIM and the AMA was here, they kind of coexisted, but didn't really, I think it was heavily, there was a little influence from the FIM, but mainly we kept it in the window of what we were used to with the AMA side of it. So, the AMA and the FIM, they do things quite differently, some negative, some positive on both sides. And so try to make some better common ground there with the ruling and some of the things that, maybe the GPs and the FIM, what's important to them, maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be so important or in our wheelhouse at Supercross. Just little things like that, really just like there's no limits, just like the whole program of the goal, how can I basically consult or, advise a better way forward.
And I'm guessing you're going to, talk to the guys that are racing, right? Like this is part of it. This is like, hey, if you see me in the pits, if Colt Nichols or Shane McElrath, if you see me in the pits, come up to me. Let's talk about it, right?
Yeah, and I think that, that's a position that many times, has been, considered or talked about, whether it be, Kevin Wyndham, Mike LaRocco, myself, kind of once you get a certain age, you're considered old or, the vet of the series. And people tend to want to tell you things or vent to you because you have, I've never been shy of like being afraid to go to the powers that be to try to make things better. Like if I genuinely believed in what the rider or the team or whoever it was that was sharing that information, like I was always, willing and able to go to a said person to get it, in front of them. Did they always listen? Not always, but at least I had that, opportunity. And so, when the shoe's on my feet and those guys are confiding in me and, sharing that information, then, my goal is that I can, take it to the right people and I can implement change, as quick as possible.
Sure.
Chad, I saw you on the bike today.
Yeah, I saw that too.
What you doing?
Yeah.
What you doing, Chad?
Oh my God, dude! 8 months off of a dirt bike. It was horrible. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I talk to James and text with him often, and I don't get it. Now that I live in Florida, I'm like, bro, you still got a bike? Let's ride. I'm so bored. Let's ride. And he's like, yeah. So I loved it. I got out there today and rode around with kids, and I rode, a street bike, I think in December, I think it was. But obviously riding a motorcycle was just kind of nice. But yeah, getting back on a dirt bike where I felt like I could actually squeeze the grip hard enough to pull the clutch in and do all those things. So yeah, it wasn't a track, meaning I didn't get to jump and do all those things. But if the jumps were there, I totally was able to do it. So yeah, no, it was exciting to get back on a bike.
Where do you live now? Where'd you end up?
Back in Dade City. So
Dade
back
City,
where,
okay.
Back in the old stomping ground.
Nice.
Hey, Chad, you still enjoy riding a Supercross track, or do you more prefer riding in the woods and kind of doing that stuff?
I'm a moto geek at all of it, honestly, Jim.
Yeah.
Today I rode in the woods, and we have 10 acres here, and we would just have a track through the trees, and that was a blast, and once upon a time, I can't say that hitting tree roots was my favorite thing, but it was generally exciting to go out there and ride it. But yeah, to answer your question, I love to ride Supercross when I can, but it's important. It was good because I raced last year, and so whenever you jump on a bike, it's kind of like you have the latest, greatest stuff. Dunlop's been cool enough. I still have current race tires. When my suspension and my bike. So, I guess I'm lucky that I have the latest, greatest of everything. But, if I couldn't have that, then I don't know that I would want to ride Supercross.
Yeah, I mean, how old are you now, Chad?
41.
41, yeah. See, I mean, for me, when I retired, there comes a point where, man, I don't really want to hit those triples anymore. I don't care what kind of bike I got underneath me or what kind of tires I got. I just know the consequences if I come up short,
Yeah, and I think that the triples, to be fair, the triples and all those things, it's funny because we look at a triple or, let's say, the biggest jump on the track, and it's for the most part, even at 41 years old and not riding in 8 months, I wouldn't be scared to go and roll it for the first lap and then hit it right away, the second lap. You just, they're 64 feet and it's second gear and
right.
No, it's tripling up. It's tripling up onto a tabletop. That's got you spooked at this point, right?
Yeah. Or what's got me my version of Jim's triple is these quads or the a 5-footer to 5-footer quad or those kinds of things. Yeah. I'm that's my gym version of I don't need to do that course today. I'm gonna be okay.
Chad, the guys at Dirtworks are gonna let me design a track next year. I'm kind of working on it a little bit. I want to do a dragon to dragon, and then dragon up the finish line over under bridge and off.
Bro, the Deegans are going to kill you.
I ran it by some riders. They're like, no, yeah, don't do that. I'm like, because I think we've gone off. Yeah.
If we're going to go dragon to dragon, I might have a shot at this one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All whoops and dragons backs.
The World Supercross series, I went to the first round last year. I like Adam and everybody else. I like what they're doing. I'm a fan of it. A little bit. I think little broader plans they probably had for this year. I hear one round, the French round, may be already in danger of it. Where do you at? And obviously knowing that you're working for the guys, I get it, but you call it like it is. Is this progressing like you thought, or did you want a little more?
Behind the closed doors conversations that I'm in, I am very excited for the future of the series. I really am. I think that some really, really great things are happening, things that genuinely excite me about the sport. And that's, honestly, I think that, unfortunately, for obvious reasons, this has turned into a, choose a side or us versus them versus us kind of situation. And I just, my goal is to fix that. I don't think, like, the only one that should be mad at us is American motocross. Like, I 100% think that they have a reason to be mad because we are going to be a competitor to them. We're going to run races during the summer.
Yeah.
But if I have anything to do with it, I don't think that we ever compete against American Supercross. I don't think that, that we compete with them on dates on that time of the year. Again, I'm not that person that gets to make that final decision, but, being somebody that has their ear, my goal would be to not, like, I think American Supercross is such a rad series. It's been such a big part of my life, and I just don't think that it's a negative. I think that Supercross year-round is what everybody wants to do. Fans listening, you don't want to hear that. I know motocross is awesome, and I love it, and it's something about losing motocross would hurt my feelings too. But I just think when you take your feelings and the emotion out of it, and you look at how do we grow, how do we take the sport of Supercross or just off-road dirt bike racing at the highest level, which in my opinion is Supercross, how do you take it around the world? How do you make it into this rock star like MotoGP like sport? And I just think that Supercross is the only one that can do that and can tap into that. And so I think the goal is to tap into where people sign up for American Supercross, and then they get a month or two off, and then they come and race Supercross around the world. That's what I think is the ultimate. Like, as an athlete, that would make me so excited to do that schedule.
But do you see, obviously the USA factories are not supporting the series, and for reasons that I understand. Do you guys, does the World Supercross need American factories to support it?
Cannondale's racing Supercross?
You know what I mean, though?
I don't. I mean, what manufacturer is in America?
No, but like I'm saying, like, the American Honda, American KTM sending riders to World Supercross, and sending a couple guys to Nationals and sending a couple guys to World Supercross. It's not happening.
I mean, American Supercross. I mean, American Honda, American KTM should be worried about America, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Do you think that with the series that we're seeing that without the American factory riders, it can work, or do you see a point where the American factory riders are going to be like, hey, because we know Cooper Webb wanted to go, we know guys have wanted to go to do it.
Everybody wants to go.
Well, I don't know about everybody, but sure, yeah, a lot of guys. Do you see that changing? Do you see that happening?
Well, let me tell you, I know it, and I've seen it, and everybody wants to come. So I think the answer is that America is protecting America, and I think that that's fair. I think that your American bosses are saying what they're saying. We're all hearing what they're saying, and I genuinely think that that's fine. Like, that is what they should be saying. You know, like, that's their job.
Right.
The riders are going to have to make some decisions, I think, and I think that those guys will be the ones that really lead the future of the the new direction of whatever that is in my opinion. So the world does not revolve around one country. It's a very powerful country, and I think it's a very strong market, and actually believe that because it's such a big, strong market, is why World Supercross, American motocross, can be sustainably ran at the same time. I actually really think that that's possible. So, I'm interested. I mean, obviously, I have information that tells me that manufacturers are interested, and they believe that is positive. You know, when we start going globally and we start going into their markets where they sell, you know, thousands of motorcycles that may not be dirt bikes, you know, you get their attention. So, I think we're on the right track. I think that positive things are happening.
Sure. All right, we got some phone calls for you. As always, pretty popular guy here. Faith is on 5. Faith, what's going on? What's your question for Chad Reed?
Hi, Chad. Thank you guys for answering my call. I was wondering what's been happening since you guys. I'm a YouTube follower, so I follow you guys on YouTube and everything. What's been happening like at home since you guys got back from Australia?
Yeah, where's the YouTube videos at? That's what Faith wants to know.
So the YouTube's on a bit of a pause just because life has been crazy. You know, like for a good portion of the last 8 months, we have been living, whether it be a hotel, my in-laws, or a motorhome. So yeah, life's starting to take, you know, more consistency on a day-to-day basis. We're starting to look at new filmers, new crews, new editors and things like that. So YouTube's not necessarily, you know, dead. It's just a little bit on pause. So yeah, but I mean, to answer your question, we've been really busy. I mean, kids have been motoing, and I've been wide open behind the scenes on a couple of different consulting opportunities. So yeah, just kind of been working off actually.
All right, stay tuned, Faith. Thanks for the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Ash, you're on with Chad Reed. What's happening, Ash?
Hey guys. Hey Chad. Calling from Australia, mate. I've been meaning to chat to you for a long time. Long-term fan. I watched your first ever race in 1999 at the Supercross Masters. The next couple of years, it was hard to watch races as you headed overseas. You know, the TV coverage in Australia was difficult. But I think it's fair to say I reckon I could probably have seen every single race you've ever been in from 2002 onwards. Me and my family flew to America in 2014 just to watch you race. Unfortunately, it was the San Diego round. You crashed out and did your shoulder. But, mate, in long short of all that, I just wanted to say cheers for providing such wicked entertainment for the past 20 years. You know, we're very privileged. We've got some amazing Australian athletes with Jack and the Hunter boys, and, you know, Danny Rick's not driving, but, you know, we're very spoiled, and Toby and all that sort of stuff. But I pretty much looked up to you for the past 25 years. I'm only a few years younger than you. I've got kids myself, so I basically just wanted to say cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
Nice.
Yeah, no, thanks. Appreciate it. So it's funny, you know, like I was back home in Aussie for a long time, longer than ever, in the last kind of like spent 4 months there, and that was a pretty common, you know, theme of people's, you know, like you filled up a lot of Sunday lunchtime, you know, activities. So yeah, no, pretty cool to know that, you know, here I am chasing a dream, but you're also providing, you know, a lot of people something to do and something to stay connected to. And again, just why Supercross is such a powerful tool.
Thanks, Ash. Thanks for the call, man.
Agreed. Hey, can I get a racing question in?
Sure.
If I can slip one in?
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, Chad, you had a long career, mate. But when do you reckon you were going your fastest, even if you didn't win? I reckon it was in 2012 Dallas when you were chasing RV, and unfortunately you did your knee, but you were moving. Like, I've just watched you ride for so long, and like that was one time you were just the quickest.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, like, the biggest thing that I would say that 2012 is, like, I just was so comfortable on, you know, it was the second year of us having our team, and so we had a full year under our belt. Honda had stepped up and provided the factory bike for us, and I just gelled with that bike. And when you really look at who was there, I think RV and I at that point in the series had really kind of taken a couple of steps up, and we were leaving people like James and Dunge and, you know, I don't even know who was back then, you know, Shorty and K-Dub and all those guys, and we were pretty much putting the hurt on them. So, yeah, it was a bummer to get hurt at that race.
All right. Thanks, Ash. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Bill is on 1. Bill, you got a question for Chad Reed?
Yeah. Hey, Chad, big fan. Kind of bummer that Moto 40 kind of went the way it did, but I was always impressed with your guys' prep there. I can't think the name of that equipment that you guys use there, and where'd you guys get it there?
You put me on the spot as I try to think of what it was called as well. I can't think of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know it was expensive.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you.
But yeah, no, thanks. I missed Moto 40. It was really fun. But yeah, I mean, you got 3 other partners, so we had to. I was only one of 4 guys, so had to make the best decision for everyone.
It's too bad. Wygant was there. He's a regular customer. He liked it. Whenever his kids' bikes would keep running. Who knows?
Whenever he had charge.
Yeah, exactly. Renthal.com bringing you Chad Reed here on the PulpMX Show. Please check out Renthal at your local dealer, motorsport.com and more. It's just been a Lawrence year, Chad. Just unbelievable over here. Obviously, you've seen it. Wow, what a season those 2 brothers are having. Incredible.
Yeah, it's got to be fun, huh? Like just
rolling.
You think of it from a dad standpoint. I just can't imagine. Like I have a 13-year-old, and my 2 boys is 13 and 9, and you think of that kind of feeling and them achieving what they're achieving. It must feel pretty damn good. Chasing the dream and the sacrifices that they made at young ages and chasing the dream all these years. So definitely, aside from the obvious things, I just look at what it took and what it takes on a day-to-day basis, and those sacrifices that must be super rewarding for the family.
Mm-hmm. Chad, you think they took a page out of your playbook? And what I mean by that is, they went from Australia to Europe a lot like you did to get some experience before coming to America?
I mean, I think that they probably took the book more than pages. They're currently at my old facility, and they drive down the same driveway, they drive into the same neighborhood that I did for the majority of the 20 years that I was here. So, to say that they're doing a lot of the same things. I think is fair to say, and but I also look at the group of people that are around them. I think that they seem to have a pretty solid crew. Johnny O, no stranger to top athletes, and and I think that like everyone and me, I'm not exempt from this, but I think that when you work with an athlete, or if you want to contribute to an athlete, you have to really gel, and so I think that we're seeing people come and go with Johnny O, and a lot of people see with the success that they had with Ricky, and then, you look at James, and it wasn't like James had the same kind of mojo and connection, and, and I just think that that's important, like Jet and Hunter believe, and they've bought into whatever Johnny's providing, and I think that that's the end result, I think that obviously their program is it's solid.
And also too, look at their team manager, another guy you're familiar with, right? That's I think he's been a big help there in allowing the riders to make choices as opposed to old Honda management. I think. Yeah,
I think that Honda has been changing. It's been a slow change. Over the last kind of 5 years, and I think the timing was right when Lars come on board. Obviously I'm not a part of that team and the inside of it, but just little things that I've seen from the outside, they were making changes, higher up than Lars, Brandon, Bill Savino. A lot of these guys started to, be a little more powerful, a little bit more say, and I think that Lars just came along at the perfect time. And perfect time means that I think he's experienced from what he learned from us, and then going back to Honda and then fitting into the program and, doing all the different jobs. I just think that it was just good timing for him to be able to provide riders, with the information to win races.
So as part of this World Supercross deal, you're also going to be joining Emig and Ralph on the TV side of things. Have they outlined what are you going to be in? Is it a 3-man booth? Are you going to be pits? Have they outlined what your role is on the TV broadcast for the World Supercross?
Actually, just got off the phone. You would like that, Daniel. I just got off an hour-long TV meeting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so I won't be. It won't be a three-man booth.
Okay.
I'm going to jump in and out of a bit of everything.
Sure.
Like try to. Ultimately, I want to give to the TV package as much as I can, but I also probably have bigger goals of the series as a whole. And if my involvement on the TV package short term helps that, then I'm willing to do that for short term. But I really want to try to help the series at a high level. But yeah, like TV stuff, like we're going to do some really fun segments and that, like they're going to use me for that. Just because what the riders are faced with and the teams are faced with is so different. Like we're spent, our normal was, you show up to a race and it's a quick flight and there's a motorhome, there's a semi truck, and just like the normal thing. And then now you're flying to foreign countries and you're in a hotel and you're having to work out of a freight and just things like that. So trying to shine some light on that and show the world the challenges, that they do. And I think that it's kind of exciting, like I remember, doing it with you, Steve. Like I remember DV, Timmy and I, sleeping in the crate during our little downtime. And I think of that crate, it was just a bunch of stuff jammed in, and now they're quite, sophisticated and quite well designed crates now. So yeah, just kind of be able to, shed some light on some of the challenges and excitement that the series has that's different.
Daniel, if you're on a TV side on Feld, the World Supercross TV, I mean, if you're looking for a TV gig, Daniel,
My passport expired last year, and I forgot to renew it, so we got one issue there.
Okay, all right. So you're out for World Supercross TV. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, unless they come to South Carolina, then call me.
Right. Yeah. We'll see if that happens. Thanks, Chad. Thanks for the call in. Congrats on the new gig, and I'll be watching. Man, the first round is at Redbud, or the weekend of Redbud. I'll be watching. I think each and every one of them, and I hope to make it to one of them at some point. I got to reach out to Adam and see which one. Yeah?
Did you come to Australia last year?
No, just the UK one. Yeah.
So you still haven't been to Aussie?
I've never been to Aussie. I gotta get down there.
Jeez,
we looked at our listener stats not that long ago, and Australia is strong.
Yeah. Right? And I think we're going to have to cancel the subscription if you don't make it this year.
The problem I have is I want to take Pookie, but it's always at the November, and her work is wide open, and I'm always like, I want to go with her and make it like a 2-week trip, right? And just go see all Australia.
It'll be fine. Like, give Pookie the upgrade and you can sit in cattle and it'll be awesome.
That will not happen. We will both go up front, that's for sure. Are you taking the family with you to all of these or some of them, or do you know? Have you thought that out?
So the family and I will probably only do the Oz one together.
Okay.
The rest of them, I think I'll go alone.
Yeah.
And then for sure UK I'm going alone. But yeah, so Aussie Supercross has just launched something that we've been working on. Is they're going to reintroduce the 85cc class at the pro level.
Okay.
And so yeah, I really want to get Tate. Actually, that's what we're working on right now. Is I'm just working with Tate, and basically we're just pulled back on all things racing, and then I'm just trying to teach him the Supercross fundamentals.
Sure.
Like when I watch TV on a week-to-week basis, I just think that it's so important. I was so lucky to race Supercross at that young age, and I just think that if people get hired for their Supercross skills only, nothing else. And so if my 13-year-old tells me that he wants to race at a high level, then we got to go to work and get working on Supercross. So
sure.
So we're just put all our attention and all our focus on Supercross, and I'm hoping that he'll race some of those Australian races, and so that'll be kind of both scary as hell and exciting as hell.
Yeah, both, I think.
So anyway, it'll be fun.
Well, thanks for the time tonight. We will get you back in later on when the series is on. I'd like to get some of the racers on and now that it's more than 2 races, we actually have a real series. You know what I mean? And I'd like to follow it on this show and stuff. So
Absolutely.
works good. Thanks, man. Thanks for the time.
Cheers.
See ya. That's Chad Reed, everybody. I mean, look, I asked him the question about the World Supercross because I think, Chad calls it like it is.
Yeah.
Right? I don't.
He's not going to sugarcoat it.
I don't think so. I mean, even though he's getting his paycheck from those guys, he's going to be honest about it. So, I did hear the second round is already canceled and they're going to move it. So that's another bit of a blow. And I am very worried about the Canadian round. Like, I don't know how they're going to pull that off. Nobody.
Where's that at?
Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
In BC.
Yeah,
place?
in BC Place. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting to see. But I like the World Supercross. I don't pick a side. I know people like the manufacturers have picked a side.
Yeah.
And the sponsors have picked certain sponsors have picked a side. That's cool. I don't have to. I'm in the media. I cover it all. It's great racing.
How many rounds they have now?
6.
6.
Yeah.
Do they have any in Japan?
No.
No.
They need to work on that though, right?
Yeah. Well, as well as I do. I tried to work on it a few years ago. And,
right. But it went there for 20 years, so there's got to be there's got to be a desire for it.
But I just don't think the fan base is there anymore because back when I was riding in Japan in the All Japan Grand Prix and also the Supercrosses, they had a lot of fans. They would fill up everything. But nowadays you go to an All Japan Grand Prix and there's only 6 rounds.
Oh really?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
and they're lucky if they get 5,000 people.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So it's changed a lot in Japan.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
I'm just jealous of all the privateers right now. I think about this popped up, Super Motocross. I mean, all of a sudden,
you and JT
dude,
would be rubbing your hands together.
What the hell?
This,
it just all of a sudden, just a bunch of influx in cash in the sport for these privateers. So I'm a little,
for sure.
I'm a little jealous.
Mark's
of those
on
guys.
3. Mark, you got a question for Daniel Blair?